Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light Reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break Reminder and Force Break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force Break activates to rest your eyes. Eye Care You. Safeguard your eyes.
Welcome along. It's race day, folks, here on AMX Global. Race day number 34, and every day is a good day to race, folks. Join myself, Alex, and Marco back with you. It's tin top action. It's front wheel drive. We've got a fantastic double header. We've got AMX 5 and AMX 20 in action. Marco, good to have you back with us once again in the commentary position. How are things, my friend? It hasn't been too long, but I've missed you.
I mean, thank you, Alex. Nice to be back in the booth with you. And of course, you know me, everybody knows it. Front-wheel drive is my favorite type of car, and we have a double dose, of course, with the Clio and the TCRs coming later today from the Red Bull Ring. And of course, today is the release date for the iRacing 2023 Season 3 update, which comes with so many interesting things, new racetracks, and some updates for the cars we're going to be racing today, notably the Clio Cup, which we'll see in action at Oran Park in just a few seconds. We'll have the new damage model activated, so be careful when you touch your opponents or the walls, because we will see bits flying everywhere. So, more spectacular for us. Hopefully the drivers, won't have to experience this because they keep the car on track.
Yeah, it's AMX 5 Race 21, and it's Clio Cup action. Of course, we're running right the way through until Sunday, the 25th of June, which will conclude Beta Season 2. We'll be back for day 35 in just around about 24 hours time for another double header. So still plenty of action still to come for the rest of Season 2, and here are the total earnings in terms of the standings. It's getting closer and closer between Caio Gaspar and Francis Gael Valero. Gaston Coulharvey is on $1,189 ahead of Fabio Zampolini and Jackson Asenje. Some other drivers making their way through the order, including Corentin Guignez, who makes a return tonight. So there is the prize pool, a total of $161 here on AMX5, which is a $5 entry. And if you are placing 15th or higher, you're going to make your money back very, very easily indeed. And as we always have here on AMX Global, if you are finishing under 80% of the winner's total race time, it is classed as a DNF, which means you don't finish, you don't score points, thereby you don't get any prize money. And the payout happens at the end of the season. And in the standings for AMX5, it's 331 for Gael Valero. Gaston Coulharvey not too far behind, on around about $48 behind him. Diego Villarreal, the non-qualifying specialist, is third ahead of Corentin Guignez, with Jackson Asenje, Caio Gaspar, Fabio Zampolini, Josh Perwin, Victor Miranda and Kei-Young Park rounding out the top 10. But now it's time to introduce the track and the car, so it's over to Marco.
And we are here in beautiful Oran Park down under. We've been here, of course, more than once over the last few weeks, and we are racing, of course, on the full version, the full layout, as you can see, with the beautiful figure eight, forever preserved in iRacing, in laser scanned perfection. A fun little racetrack, perfect in my opinion for the kind of action we are going to be partaking in tonight. Well, the drivers are going to, we are just going to be here safely watching from a distance, because of course they will be, as per usual, we've seen many times with these beautiful front wheel drive cars beating and banging and very close action with each other. That is why, well, because we are racing with the Clio Cup, which is, of course, as of today, is officially entering its second season in a racing competition. And as I was saying earlier, the big update today for this car, the new damage model has been activated, and so well, this basically means that every part of the car will be removable and deformable and will be detachable, more like you see, in real life. And so every collision will be much more impactful and more realistic in the way it will behave. But as you can see from the graphic from our beautiful production crew in the back, 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine, front wheel drive, as it should be, the perfect entry level into the world of touring car racing. And of course, ideally, you will take it all the way to the next step in 1 hour's time, more or less, with the TCR cars. Absolutely a joy to drive this car. And as Oran Park hasn't received any love in the new iRacing update, going through the release notes earlier today, one thing that surely jumped to my eye was that the track surface properties have been updated as well, especially regarding the build-up to the dirty part of the track out of the racing line, which will be more realistic going from this day onwards. So, of course, be careful when you leave the proper racing line. Even though it's a short race, we'll see a lot of rubber being deposited by these cars as the race goes on. We are, of course, Alex and everybody watching, in week 13 is the break week between the official racing, so there is not a lot of official competition. What better time than to jump in amxrace.com if you want to race with us, because we're basically racing non-stop for the next couple of weeks until the end of the beta season 2. So it's a bit boring during week 13. The fun races are a bit of a wreckfest, and the official races are so few and far between. Maybe the things you want to race are not on the official rotation. That's so greatly reduced. Jump on with us, earn money, and have fun.
Indeed, we're here for everybody here at AMX Global. There you just saw the results of the hour and 20 minutes of free practice. We're underway with time qualifying, and one of the biggest bits of news that has come out of iRacing is the fact that the GTP war is going to implode, because the Cadillac V-Series R GTP has officially been released. The 5.5 litre flat plane crank growling V8 is now on iRacing. So expect with LMDHs on iRacing special events to occupy not just BMWs anymore. So GM's finest sports car brand in the world of LMDHs. Of course, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the centenary, is happening this weekend. But let's concentrate on brass tacks, shall we? A minute and a half into time qualifying, we've got the likes of Fabio Zampolini, Gaston Coulthard, Gaio Valero, Caio Gaspar, Diego Villarreal, Jackson Resenge, and the 888 of Corentin Guignez. So we are waiting for the first few moments of this qualifying session to pass, and thereby we will have our first few lap times coming in. Corentin Guignez, quickest of anybody in the first sector, 20.382 at the minute. And not too far behind is Fabio Zampolini, who's on a 20.384. So the sector times are rapidly coming in. We've got 5 altogether as Valero nearly gets a little bit of snap-on oversteer from the back end of the number 3. But he's currently the fastest in sector number 2 with a 16s, with regards to a 16.588, which has just been bettered by pretty much by Corentin Guignez. Well, Corentin Guignez has gone fastest in sector 3 at 12.95. Valero not improving in sectors 3 and 4, but that doesn't always take into consideration how fast the lap is going to be, because Gaio Valero crosses the line. And what is his lap time going to be? That was disallowed, that lap time. And Corentin Guignez has gone straight in with the 1 minute 14.923. Resenge 1 minute 15.09. Zampolini up to P2. Caio Gaspar currently leading the overall standings as Valero goes fastest the opening sector out of anybody so far, before Corentin Guignez in the sort of slightly leopard print Asher Racing liveried Clio goes quickest of anybody. So yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see over the course of this session, Marco, how the session will proceed.
Yes, and of course we can expect very tight starting grid in terms of the lap times of the drivers, and already of course we can see that to be the case as we are on board with the Coulthard. You can see very distracting to see the cars in the other part of the race. That is the nature of the compact shape and the figure 8 of this beautiful Oran Park racetrack as we go over the bridge and downhill, of course, to go into the second part of the lap, to the Foster's Dip. As now on the start-finish line, here comes Gael Valero, 1:14.776 is a provisional pole. Of course, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen, Alex, tension rising between Valero and Guignez. They've had more than a collision or two over the course of the last, as I say, couple of weeks or so. And of course, when you take into account that they are racing with this kind of cars, tend to bring the competition even closer than usual, we can expect even more fireworks, I would imagine, especially because we are racing in their cup of tea. Both are incredibly capable front-wheel drive car racers.
All I'm going to say is, anyone might remember what happened 7 days ago. Scuba with the Mazda MX-5s and then TCR at Brands Hatch. Need I say any more, folks? We have definitely got a rivalry going on here as Valero goes purple in sector number 3, halfway through the qualifying session. As Valero scrapes the wall on the outside, comes across the line. That is not going to be an improvement. His last lap was well, he wasn't that far off. It was a 1:14.799, so 23 thousandths off. So even though you might see a couple of sectors dip into the yellow, as we have got the number 327, Zoom God Zampolini himself, the only person that has the cojones to put eyelashes on a Radical SR8. You've seen that many a time. That he is Mr. Colourful when it comes to liveries, but with fact Duckhawk Racing ask him to put some different some standardized liveries, but still to have a very interesting team name is a good one. But look at how close. It's 30.3 of a second that covers all 6 drivers. Diego Villarreal has definitely answered the question for us, saying, I am not going out for qualifying. Well, considering the fact the track temperature is 51.7 degrees, air temperature 25.5, Guignez is fastest in the opening sector. Senjay's just improved and put a personal best in sector number 2. Zampolini makes his way towards the end of sector 1. There's Corentin Guignez, purple again in sector 2, as he fires it over the bridge and into the double right-hand complex here at Oran Park, down into the next left-hander. He's going to go down the descent, running towards the start-finish line very, very shortly. Terminal speeds at the moment, Gaio Valeto's been running in the about 190 kph. Guignez not too far off of that. Guignez has a slightly bogey third sector, improves on sector number 4. And what's his lap time? This time it was 1:14.807. No, it's not. 1:14.646. Guignez goes to top there, Marco.
Great lap. Let's see if anybody can answer to that great time by the Frenchman. We see that Hasenji has improved in the first sector, but of course long way to go for him. Gael Valero, we're waiting for his answer. The clock is starting to tick slowly but surely towards the 10-minute mark, as of course the drivers will be able to finish their lap provided they can start the final lap before the 10-minute mark. So there is still a bit of time, especially because the lap around here is not very long. Hasenji, Gaspar and Guinness himself, they are not improving in this lap, and so we are basically, everybody is sort of recharging for 1 or 2 more attempts as they try to best their actual time, their current time, maybe even vying for pole position. Here comes Hasenji out of nowhere, only improving in the first and in the final sector. That's enough to become, third position. Oh, and now that's and the new damage model you see there in action.
Oh, yes, that was impressive. He went straight on, as that is Caio Gaspar off into the gravel before going underneath the bridge. Valero's about to cross the line, purple in sector number 4. And does he improve on that lap time? He does, but by a mere fraction. It's 12 1,000ths in the battle for pole position as we head into the last minute and a quarter. So Valero is going to probably more than likely have the opportunity for 2 attempts at stealing pole position from his countryman in the 888, Corentin Guignez. And what's more, the 6 that have been out for qualifying. Good to see that Gaston Coulharvey's showing what sweet tooth preferences he has, courtesy of the M&M's livery. We had pizza the other night when it was the CTSVs at Tech Raceway Laguna Seca on Sunday night. He's improved on the open. We're going to see a replay now of Jackson Versenjay. As we get Zoom God Sampolini in the bottom right-hand corner. I don't know what's happened there, but you can see he's definitely full of concentration at the moment. Oh, and Diego's decided to pull out. Right, okay, so here's the replay. Into the first corner, just launches it. Old 2 wheels on the gravel. Back end steps out, and it's going, and bang, the bumper is gone. Literally.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Of course, before... well, not beautiful for him, of course. Beautiful is that before today, the car would have basically, unrealistically deformed like a pack of potato chips. But now, of course, with the detachable bits at the front of the car, the hood becomes dislodged and starts bouncing. And you see also other thing that the new damage model gives you is that the suspensions, the wheels can break, and of course, that car was completely unusable after that crash there.
Checking it out for the 10-minute qualifying session. It's going to be a 12-lap race around this circuit, which is just over 1.6 miles. Gaspar, does he improve? He bumps Versenjay down to P4 on his final attempt. So we're running on board with the driver that is on provisional pole at the moment. Oh, he has a little bit of a wobble and he aborts that final lap. Valero has not strung any personal bests or a fastest sector in there as Guignez now goes into pit lane. So Valero will not improve and will go on the outside of the front row. And that is the server timed out. So Corentin Guignez takes pole position for race 21 of AMX 5 here at Oran Park. And this circuit has actually been out of use for over 12 years. And this is how close it was. 0.477 covering the top 6 drivers. So Gaio Valero 35 thousandths off of pole position. Jackson Desenje in 3rd. Caio Gaspar, Fabio Zampolini, Gaston Coulthard, and Sudamerica Racing Team's Diego Villarreal will bring up the rear of this 7-strong grid. We'll have, as I said, a standing start, so we'll have that not just for these cars, but also for TCR at the Red Bull Ring, where there are big bucks on offer, over $600 in prize money for this one, but it's 161 max prize money for AMX 5 race 21. We are waiting for the drivers to get themselves onto the grid. So Corentin Guignez has just jumped on. So has Valero. We're waiting for Caio Gaspar and for Diego Villarreal. So there is our pole sitter, the 888, Corentin Guignez, who has been making some significant headway over the course of the second half of the revamped beta season 2. So don't forget, head to amxrace.com to state your interest, as the revs will start to build ahead of 12 laps of racing. We are waiting for Diego to jump on, if he's been able to. The burbling of the exhausts are there. Once Diego jumps onto the server, we'll be ready to go racing for AMX 5 race 21. 12 laps of this 1.6 mile circuit here at Oran Park. There you can see the nice little overhead camera shot. Once the revs start to build, then be a case of get as minimal wheel spin off the line and head down to the opening couple of corners. As it sounds like the revs are starting to build. The entirety of the grid, green flag in the air. We get underway here at Oran Park for AMX 5 race number 21, and Valero's got a better start than Corentin Guignez on the run down the start-finish straight. The 888 slots in behind the number 3. As that is Gaspar into 3rd place. Guignez sticks his nose up the inside of Valero, but outbrakes himself. That's going to allow, as there has been quite a bit of a big old change. As now there's a bit of door bashing, and he catches it. Oh, mamma mia! That was ever so close. But Jackson Desenje has managed to get in front of everybody else. Caio Gaspar in 2nd. Fabio Zampolini up from 5th to 3rd place. Gaston Coulthard now 4th. Valero and Guignez. Now they were swapping paint a little bit there, weren't they, Marco?
Yes, they were, but they were both jumped by Hasenji out of turn 2, and so they already lost the lead there, and then there was some contact. I don't know if they made contact with each other to cause the spin, or if it was some other kind of contact. But now, of course, they need to come back strong. And you can see deep onto the brakes there goes Gael Valero, but Coulthard passes him back. So from 1st and 2nd they go, and now stop, maybe a jump start, unfortunately, for Gaston Coulthard. So it's Hasenji, Gaspar, Zamperini, Valero and Guignez and Diego Villarreal. Unfortunately, I don't think he has taken the green flag, maybe a connection or an hardware issue for the driver from Uruguay.
Well, hopefully we might see Diego for the next race, AMX 20, TCR at the Red Bull Ring. So we've got a replay coming in now. I'm wondering whether this might be to do with Corentin Guignez, because he actually got sandwiched. So he he outbrakes himself. So that's where Desenje takes the lead. And now they've got the run down into the next right-hander. Yeah, there was a squeeze. You could see that Gaio Valero was moving across. Zampolini was on the outside of Guignez. Guignez gets pinched, gets turned around, but a absolutely brilliant save. And I think Valero lost the back end of the car. But Corentin Guignez, I doff my cap to thee. That was a hell of a save.
Fantastic stuff, and thankfully, both of these drivers, for example, we saw a couple of days ago in Lime Rock Park, when when Valero started all the way from the back, and then was involved in a spin in the very first lap, lost so much time that he wasn't able to make any significant progress. Thankfully, both Valero and Guinness have been able to stay relatively close to the pack, and so they are both of them perfectly in the hunt, Alex, for the race victory. But of course now they have to pass the Brazilian battalion in front of them with Hesenji, Gaspar and Zamperlini making a big shout for an all-Brazilian podium.
Well, big news for those people who are Diego Villarreal fans. Actually, he did make it out on track, and Aston Kulharvi is all the way down in stone dead last in he had to, I think it looked like he had to serve a penalty, might have had a drive-through. As Corentin Guinness is flirting with the track limits at the moment. He had a slight blip. Villarreal was actually in the pits for 13 seconds. Kulharvi was actually in the pits for 40.5 seconds. So now on to coming to the end of lap number 3 out of 12. Gaio Valero has got the fastest lap in his pocket at the moment. He's chasing down Fabio Zamperlini as they come out of the final corner over the start-finish line. Best lap so far, 1 minute 14.636 from Valero. And he's just put in a 1 minute 14.662, so 2 successive laps where Valero is significantly quicker. I'm trying to get the words out right there. He was well over half a second quicker than Zamperlini. Zamperlini knows that his days in third position might be numbered.
I think more or less in front of them we should have Kularius. He's a little bit further in front. I got my timings mixed up. You are absolutely right, because I think Valero is starting to think that, of course, if he doesn't make a move quickly, he might allow Corentin Guinness to close the gap, and then, of course, being itself vulnerable from an attack from his big rival. He sees the race lead is not that far away, but all 3 of these guys, of course, Zamperlini, Gaspar and Valero, will be very tough to overtake. We can see Valero trying already some very aggressive lines. He needs to get a good launch from the final corner, but it's very tricky to pass into turn 1 because it's not really a braking area, more like turn 2. But you can see the weaving from Hesenji trying to break the draft as much as he can. Beautiful overhead shot here. You can see this turn 1 not really a passing spot. You can set up an attack in turn 2, which is what Valero is trying to do, but good defending on the inside line from Zamperlini.
Yeah, looks like we've had a bit of an off-track from one of our competitors. That looks to be Diego Villarreal down in 6th position. But the train at the front end of the field is still led by Jackson Hesenji. The number 6, Caio Gaspar, the current overall standings leader here on Season 2 of AMX Global. The way that Valero is driving, tell by the way that the car is reacting to his inputs. There's a lot of steering correction, especially with the fact of these 1.6 litre inline 4 turbocharged engines, 200 brake horsepower. It's now up the inside. That was a little bit of a good move from Valero, but straight away Zamperlini, look at the smile on his face. He's going, come on, Guile, I'm going to have you up the inside. He's going for it into the final corner, and Zamperlini's back through for 3rd place. Great exchange, and this has allowed Corentin Guinness, and you rightly put there, Marco, to close on in. So the more that Valero fights Zamperlini, the more opportunity Corentin Guinness has.
Corentin, I think he had a little bit of a thought there about going for a move on his big rival. Now they are basically glued, and of course glued themselves as well to the back end of Zamperlini's car. A little bit too deep there is Gael Valero, and Corentin Guinness happily takes the place, but now he will have to contend with the tough-to-pass Brazilian in Zamperlini.
Yeah, but he's actually got the nose ahead, but Zamperlini fires it back up the inside. This is not quite done yet. Through the next right-hander, they're going to go over the bridge. Zamperlini will have the inside line. Keeps Guinness to the outside. They are door handle to door handle. As Gaio Valero nearly made it 3 wide right there, going into the next right-hander into the left. There's a touch between Valero and Zamperlini. A little bit of a touch between Valero and Zamperlini. Zamperlini grazes the barriers. Coming through the kink-style section here at Oran Park. It was going to be a case of push coming to shove, and it's the slightest bit of contact especially with the fact that the front end of these cars are quite heavy. There's no real weight distribution on the rear of the vehicle, as Jackson Asenji now opens up lead over Caio Gaspar to the tune of about 0.6 of a second. Corentin Guignes is now 2.8 seconds behind that battle, and after the contact between Valero and Zampellini, Valero now finds himself nearly 1.5 seconds behind his countryman. Zampellini is in 5th and is currently 5 seconds behind the number 3. There we've got the number 4. We're riding on board with Caio Gaspar. We're going to go to a brief replay, maybe just to show from another angle what exactly happened there. So you can see coming over the bridge. So Corentin Guignes keeps it to the outside. Zampellini forces the issue by staying on the inside there. And Guignes keeps it pinned to the outside. Looks to the inside, and then there's the cutback. Oh, and it was a slight touch. Right front to left rear. And Fabio was lighting up the front tyres like a good, and he had the throttle pinned and locks up the brakes. Slight glance with the barrier, and on he goes.
And, you know, I was looking at the replay also of the in live broadcast on my side monitor here, and even when he was crashing into the barrier, Fabio was still smiling, and that is, of course, an amazing attitude. He recognized, you know, the battle was amazing. In the meantime, in all of this, we have an incredibly tight fight for first place between Asenji and Gasparini. You can see Gasparini is Red Bull liveried Clio. Locking the front tires there, getting it to turn 2 and almost forcing Asenji wide there, but they're still super close to each other, and you know, we don't have a lot of time left, only 4.5 laps left, and I don't know if Guignes can close the gap in time. Maybe if Gaspar and Asenji start battling, then he can close the gap, but we shall see, because this fight seems to be like the one we should watch for the race victory between the two Brazilians. Super close to each other. They've been like this for, you know, since the very first lap, basically. And great chance for one of these two drivers to bring home some very, very valuable points, and of course a great race victory.
Yeah, bring home the bacon, as we would say here in the United Kingdom, as Asenji gets very close to the wall coming out of the final corner. Guignes, yeah, like you say, if Gaspar and Asenji start battling a bit too much like Zampellini and Valero were doing a bit earlier on, I mean, Valero is now within 1.5 seconds, but with now this and 3.5 laps to go, Gaspar looks for a long, long dive up the inside. Asenji drifts wide through turn number 2 again, still manages to keep that number 6 Clio ahead of his countryman in the number 4 at the moment as they go through into the next right-hander. Very shortly they'll be going through another right, which will bring them underneath the bridge. They'll then later cross over, actually go over the bridge, and it's still 0.3 of a second. In terms of pace between the two, they've both been running on a mid 1 minute 15, so the pace between them is very, very similar. And it's a case that Asenji was a little bit quicker than Gaspar. If Gaspar keeps sticking his nose up the inside of Asenji, you can actually try and pass, and one of two things will happen. You'll stick your nose up the inside, lose all the momentum, or you'll stick your nose up the inside and make the move stick, as long as you've got enough momentum to carry it through. Now we go on to our 10th lap, so there's going to be 3 more to go, including this one. The gap now has started to close a little bit as Gaspar gets that little bit of slipstream assistance down the main start-finish straight as they head into turn 1. Or hard on the brakes and turn it right, rotate the car into turn number 2. And there is Corentin Guignes. Now that gap has significantly been demolished by the Triple 8. And what's more, Corentin Guignes at a 1 minute 15.163. Gael Valero 1 minute 14.986. So yeah, I think there could be a little bit more of a fly in the soup kind of situation very, very shortly here, Marco.
Yeah, only 1 second. And again, as you were saying, Gaspar keeps on trying to find that move, so the more we get closer to the checkered flag, the more he will try to go for the move, and now he has the extra pressure, like we were saying earlier, for Valero, of knowing he needs to be maybe a bit quicker in his decision making, because the more he waits, the more he's getting under pressure from behind. From Corentin Guinness will get 2 laps to go sign right now. Here we go, lap 11 of 12, looking back from Gaspar. There's Guinness getting closer and closer, and I have to say, fantastic drive from Jackson Resenji so far, being able to get the lead into turn 1 cleanly, and using the over-aggressiveness of Valero and Guinness there, and he hasn't looked back since. To be a great win if he's able to pull it off. Not going to be easy, because also Valero now has joined the party, so we know Alex needs to be perfect from now onwards.
Yeah, just over 2 seconds, cover the top 4 as we head over the bridge for the announcement time. White flag will be out as soon as they come through the final corner here at Oran Park and go down the start-finish straight. And Gael Valero again was the quickest of anybody, 1 minute 14.991, as they head towards the final right-hander that will bring them on to the start-finish straight after the flick-flack chicane through from the top part of the track. Now it is just under 6/10. White flag now out this time as we go on to the 12th and final lap of AMX 5, race number 21 here at Oran Park in Australia, not too far outside of Sydney. Gaspar is closing 2.5 tenths between him and Resenji as they filter their way through into turn number 2 underneath the bridge. Final time, Resenji again runs a little bit wide, but that helps him carry the momentum through into the next right-hander. Villarreal is off track again, and Gaston Coulthard is catching him. Look at this now, it was 2 seconds at the beginning of the final lap, it's now 1.5, and Corentin Guinness is within 4.5 tenths of Caio Gaspar, so it's going to be one last opportunity that's going to be coming out of the final corner, and who's going to get the best run out of it? Well, your guess is as good as ours, folks, because we don't know. We're just watching it unfold before our very own eyes. As now they make their way through towards what will be the final flick-flack chicane approach and into the final right-hander. It's going to be Jackson Resenji who comes out of the final turn. The Brazilian wins the race. Caio Gaspar, is he going to hold on to second? Yes, he is, by a fraction ahead of Corentin Guinness. And Gael Valero, who picks up the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 14.636. It's 4th. Oh, what a race by Jackson Resenji. He got the lead early on through turn number 2. Fabio Zampolini, he finishes 13.2 seconds behind in 5th position as we wait for, there is Gaston Coulthard in the number 2 car. It's about halfway through the lap as Diego Villarreal, who started last, will finish in 6th position. He's about 1/10 away from finishing the lap, and he'll take the checkered in the number 22, the Uruguayan from Sudamerica Racing Team. But yeah, we also will see that there's going to be $5 additional given to Gael Valero after taking the fastest lap of the race. Gaston Coulthard, the M&M's liveried Renault Clio Sport Cup car, comes out of the final corner, and he will take the checkered. All 7 drivers finish, meaning all 7 drivers get points, and Gaston just tags the wall for good measure, and then pinballs, and there we go, bumper off. Bonnet, well, the bonnet just decided to have that was a Harry Potter condition for the bonnet, because the bonnet went off and it flied back onto the car. So iRacing, I think we saw a little bit of a glitch there, but Jackson Resenji picks up $25 for winning AMX 5 race number 21. And it was just over 8/10 of a second between the top 3, with Caio Gaspar making it a Brazilian 1-2. Corentin Guinness, Gael Valero repping France for 3rd and 4th position. Could have been a top 3 lockout by the Brazilians, but an issue, a little bit of contact between Valero and Zampolini just after the midpoint in the race, made the 3:27's race and saw him finish in 5th. Diego Villarreal, Gaston Coulthard bring up the rear of the field. But Marco, what a way to start race day 34. And we've got more front-wheel drive action to come. I mean, that was an absolutely brilliant race, wasn't it?
Fantastic race. You could throw a blanket over the first 4 guys. They came so close to each other, and great drive from Hasenji to hold. Holding on was not easy there. And now, of course, we'll take it to the next step. We go to a grade 1 racetrack in the Red Bull Ring, beautiful track as well, and we go up with the power and the car choice, of course, with the TCR class with the 4 options. So it's going to be, I think, an even better show. And of course, as we were saying, we already know what these drivers can do with the TCR cars. They've shown plenty of times over the past few weeks, so I can't wait for the next one.
Don't forget, you can hear this up on the relevant social media channels, which I hope will very shortly be appearing at the bottom of your screens. You can find us on amxrace.com. That is our official website. If you haven't already subscribed or followed us on YouTube or Twitch, please do so. It might be one click from you, but it's something that means a hell of a lot to us. And we really do appreciate all the support that our viewers are showing us and the love that we're seeing in the chats, both on Twitch and on YouTube. At the moment, we're on Instagram, Twitter, and even join us on our Discord server as well and get involved. And we're even on AMX_Global on TikTok. A big thank you, as always, to our partners and our sponsors here at AMX Global. A big thank you to Automatics, BenQ, and of course here on AMX Global, we are powered by Upbit. We're going to have a little bit of a breather. Well, both myself and Marco do need to catch our breath and rehydrate ahead of AMX 20, the next race. It's going to be race number 18. It's TCR at the Red Bull Ring. So we'll see you in just a few minutes, folks. So stay tuned. Don't touch that dial.
Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and Eye Care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye Care U. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and Eye Care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye Care U. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode.
Time for the second half of tin top front wheel drive action here on race day 34 for AMX Global. It's Alex and Marco back with you. Also, we're going to let you in on something. Next time out for race day 35, it's going to be myself and Marco back in the booth again. So you've got to put up with us for double duty over the next couple of days. But TCR's AMX 20, $605 total prize pool for this race. Marco, you say this time and time again. I'm an advocate of it as well. Front-wheel drive is where it's at when it comes to touring cars.
Exactly, and of course, as you were saying, AMX 20, so it's the big prize on offer for this second race, the biggest. This is the top tier of competition, AMX 20, and Red Bull Ring, of course, a track that, despite being grade 1, hasn't lost its character. Lot of elevation changes, tough braking areas, and passing opportunities. One of those tracks where you cannot really afford to relax at any moment, and of course, our drivers know that very, very well. We've got some beautiful pictures from high above this amazing part of Austria, which I absolutely recommend you go visit because the food is amazing and the people are very, very kind and welcoming. So all the ingredients are there for a fantastic second race of the day.
Yes, indeed, it's race 18 of AMX 20. We're just over 2 weeks away from concluding AMX Beta Season 2. So that is going to be the track. We'll get Marco to talk about the Red Bull Ring and TCR itself in just a few moments' time. But the points, the thing is, things are getting closer and closer. And here is the prize pool. $100 for the race winner. Fastest lap of the race, that's $20 in your pocket. So if you are basically 13th or higher, considering we've got 8 drivers in this race, everyone's going to make money. They're going to make a profit on their entry fee here tonight. We've seen it before where the winner has not necessarily taken the fastest lap. The person in second has done so, which means that 2 drivers could possibly walk out of here with $100. More importantly, that's more bragging rights. Clio Gaspar leads the way by $200 in the AMX 20 standings ahead of Fabio Zampolini. Victor Miranda rounds out the top 3, not here tonight. Jackson Osenje back in as well, along with Gaston Culharvey. Gael Valero, the only driver that's opting to go with the Audi RS3 LMS Gen 1 tonight, whereas everyone else has picked the Hyundais here on the grid. And you know what? It's enough from me about standings and points. Let's head over to Marco for the track, description, and also cars in action tonight here on AMX 20 Race 18.
And we are in Styria, of course, Red Bull Ring, A1 Ring, Zeltweg, Spielberg, many names, and making its way back to the F1 calendar after a long hiatus. This racetrack, as you can see from the track map, as I was saying, there are lots of elevation changes, lots of very difficult braking areas and passing opportunities, and this track has got a little bit of an update. Today, the off-track section in the final corner wasn't behaving properly, so it has been updated to reflect better as it should be. Basically, I'm talking about the bit that looks like the Austrian flag going around the final two corners, and especially you can use it when you come out of the final corner. It's one of those special corners on iRacing where the track limits don't go through the midsection of your car, but you can actually go even a bit more further forward than that on the left side, as it is of course with real life track limits. And as Alex was saying, it's TCR. What more can you ask from probably the best cars in the world for enjoyment, fun, both for driving and of course for spectating? There are 4 available in iRacing: the 2 Hyundais, the Veloster and the Elantra, the Audi RS3, and of course the beautiful Honda Civic. So plenty for these drivers to choose from, and Alex already anticipated you what you are going to see tonight. Of course, everyone racing front wheel drive as it should be. And for those who were watching earlier with the Clios, we are basically now at the pinnacle of front-wheel drive racing. Of course, this year we have the World Tour for TCR. Started with TCR International, then became the WTCR. Sadly, that series was on its dying legs, even when it was WTCC, and now it's back into the control of TCR International, and they are trying to make this World Tour work. Very interesting concept, and the beauty of these cars, of course, Alex, you can race them where, every continent, every country has their own TCR championship, every region. You can race them in your local leagues, you can race them in international championships, you can race them in endurance series, in IMSA, Pilot Challenge. Everywhere you want, there's going to be TCR class for you to compete in.
Yeah, of course, this weekend, Alton Park sees rounds 5 and 6 of the 2023 TCR UK Touring Car Championship in action. I was there actually at Croft earlier on this year, in the early parts of May, being part of the team, broadcast team actually, to see these cars up close and personal. Unfortunately, no Elantras in person, but we did have a few i30s. We even had good old Veloster. And even one of the engineers from Hyundai Motorsport, funny enough, his first name was also Marco, and he was hounding me for an espresso and I said to him, go and speak to Dave Newsham, the ex-British Touring Car Championship legend. I think he's got a coffee machine in his son's garage. And funny enough, Callum Newsham was running a Hyundai i30N. Of course, the car that is used on the iRacing server is the FK7. The new FL5 has only just been released worldwide globally, with the likes of Chris Smiley, Niels Langeveld actually using that car, and have also secured podiums and race victories and also pole positions. We're now underway with timed qualifying here at Red Bull Ring, and Guy Ovaletto being the only driver to go into the Audi RS3 LMS. This is the Gen 1, which has yet to win a race in TCR UK, but back at Alton, back at Croft, we had the Gen 2 car in action with Jack Constable, who with Rob Boston Racing, who ended up winning race number 1 first. Lap times will be coming in next time around as the drivers make their way around the circuit through the first corner, named after the late 3-time Formula 1 world champion, an ex non-acting member of the board for Mercedes-AMG Petronas Motorsport, the late great Niki Lauda, as they go up the hill, and a significant amount of elevation change going into turn 2 here at Remus, or going down the dip, and these elevation changes are quite significant, especially coming out of turns 1 and 2 here, Marco. But the good thing is, from turn 1 to 2, from Lauda to Remus, you've got one hell of a slipstream.
Absolutely, and being very, very powerful with these cars, you can actually probably going to see even a bit of bump drafting working together, especially if you're going to end up in a big pack, can be absolutely crucial around here. And then, of course, the more the race goes on, the more you might see some, the pack getting a little bit strung up, which is what we see usually. But as we see earlier with the Clio Cup race, of course, need to be careful, because a small mistake can cost you a lot of places. We are on board right now. This is one of the Hyundais, of course. You can see in front of us, it's Gael Valero in his unmistakable Audi RS3. And he will go to the start finish line, but I think his time will be in pole for just a couple of seconds, because Corentin Guinness will best him immediately, and there he is. So Guinness also, Guinness first, and the lap from Valero wasn't valid. Therefore, Guinness from Gaspar and Zamperlini.
Yeah, 1 minute 41.143 for Corentin Guinness in the 888 Asher Racing Hyundai Elantra N TCR. It is also making a comeback in the TCR UK Touring Car Championship this weekend with Area Motorsport. There is Lois Santi, we can see. You know what's really funny? When you see somebody and you think, hang on, his face looks very, very familiar, straight away I think of BS Competition's Niels Neuox, who has quite an amount of facial hair and a very similar haircut to Lois Santi. But great to see that our drivers are getting involved in joining our Zoom calls. So Fabio Zamperlini has been a regular on that. So at times has Gael Valero been on there, but Corentin Guinness again lighting up the timesheets purple. So he's quicker than anybody else at the moment. And there he is in the, that is Lois Santi, running in the Hyundai Motorsport Customer Racing livery. Traditional Hyundai colours that adorns the i20N, the i30N, and in certain markets the Elantra N road car, as Corentin Guinness will come out of turn number 9. He's following in wheel tracks of Gael Valero, who will register a lap time this time, I'm sure. Goes P2, 1 minute 41.322. And what was Corentin Guinness' lap time on that particular occasion? Might have been disallowed, because he's just, well, it's just a 1 minute 41.143. So Valero gets to within 0.18 of a second. These cars produce anywhere between 340 to 360 brake horsepower as Guinness and Valero go up the hill into the right here at Remerses. Oh, Corentin Guinness, this is not a race yet, fella. Just gotta keep as close as you dare, but don't go right into the rear exhaust pipes of the car in front, because someone, first of all, won't be very happy. Second of all, don't want the word crash being shown on the screen. Thank you, AMX Global. I know exactly who that is. I'm populating that on the Twitch chat. But we're coming to the last 3 3/4 minutes. Corentin Guinness, it looked like his previous lap was actually disallowed due to track limits, but nevertheless, I'm just keeping an eye on Valero. He's just on a 43.6 in the second sector. Corentin Guinness not improving, so Valero's done a personal best. Oh, Gaspar's also improving. He's done personal best in sectors 1 and 2. He's currently 4th at the moment, 0.87 off of Corentin Guinness, sitting in 4th place. Jackson Desenge has done some laps in here, and so is, right, the question has been answered. Diego Villarreal has done laps, but hasn't registered a lap time quite yet, as we head into the final 3 minutes. Corentin Guinness, breaks the 1 minute 41 second barrier, 1 minute 40.994. Some 0.17 ahead of Valero as they come out of the Niki Lauda corner. Top as, there we go, Villarreal registers a lap time. He puts it P7 on a 1 minute 44.446. So well done, Diego. Good on you for getting out there and sticking a lap time down in quali.
I am not sure why Valero is giving all the free draft to Corentin Guinness. Alex has been basically carrying him around for the last couple of laps, and of course Guinness is quite happy to sit behind his fellow countryman, and therefore getting the all-important fastest lap of this qualifying session so far. Weird.
Yeah, very, very weird indeed. I think just Valero just needs to release Guinness and sort of like slot him behind him and say, right, sunshine, boots on the other foot, so to speak. Jackson Asenje, however, has done nearly 3.5 laps in qualifying, and all his laps so far have been invalidated. That's not going to help him at all, as Corentin Guinness goes purple again in the opening sector. Puts in a 24.776. He was over 7/100ths quicker than Valero. And Valero is still improving though. So how much closer can he get to that 1 minute 40.994 is the big €64,000 question that really needs to be answered as we head into the last minute and a half. And there we go. Valero is doing exactly what Guinness did last time around. So Guinness and Valero will cross the line. Guinness goes quicker still, 1 minute 40.880. Has there been an improvement from Valero? I don't think... Well, yes, there has been. It was a 141.165. Guinness has decided to pit, so Valero has lost all that slipstream. Asenje coming out of the final corner now. He's just about to cross the line. Will he put a lap time on the board? Yes, he does. And goes to the inside of row number 2 on a 1 minute 41.580. As we're coming down to the last 45 seconds of qualification as, oh dearie me, first M&Ms on the Clios and now Peppa Pig in the TCRs. Oh dearie me, Gaston Coulthard is definitely the variety king when it comes to liveries.
I sometimes force my friends to listen to my imitation of Peppa Pig, and they always recoil in horror. So I will not subject our viewers to this torture. But actually, I really appreciate the livery. And ironically, Peppa Pig has kept me, company during many long nights during lockdown a few years, 2-3 years ago, between a broadcast and another broadcast. So big thumbs up for this livery for Gaston Coulthard.
Well, he's actually got George's dinosaur on the back bumper on both sides. And I'm just wondering, where is George on that livery? He's probably hiding somewhere, or he's gone to bed already. But qualifying is concluded. The checkered is out. I do know about these things, folks, because I've got a 3-year-old nephew who will watch nothing but Peppa Pig all day long. Bless him. Corentin Guinness on a 1 minute 40.880. Here is Fabio Zampolini. Does he improve on that lap time? No, it's a 1 minute 42.238. Lawi Santi is now going to try and improve from last position. His best lap was a 1 minute 43.7. Is he going to improve on this one? Crosses the line. I think that might have been an invalidated lap because the timing is not... No, he's actually coming towards the final part of the... Well, that is Gaston Coulthard, the number 4 car. Coulthard currently sitting in 5th position. What's the lap time going to be? It is an improvement, gets him to within 8/100ths of Caio Gaspar, but unfortunately Gaston Coulthard will not improve. There is Lawi Santi, I think just trying to see if he can improve on a 1 minute 43.592. His last lap was 1:43.701. We see the man himself in the bottom right hand corner as he's making his way down into the infield part of the circuit. So he's just gone through Schlossgold in turn 3, through into the next left-hander here. So he might be in danger of being timed out of the server, but nevertheless, Lawi Santi still putting in an impressive 1 minute 43.701, which puts him 2.7 seconds behind the man who is on pole position again tonight. So Corentin Guinness took pole position in race 21 AMX 5 earlier on this evening at Oran Park with the Renault Clio Cups. Lawi Santi now will make his way through into Rint, and then the Red Bull Mobile corner, turns 8 and 9 before coming across the line. Hasn't improved on the opening 2 sectors, but Lauri Santi will be the last one to register a final effort, and it actually timed out before he crossed the finish line. So Corentin Guiñez and Gael Valero again on the front row of the grid for this particular race. Race 18 of AMX 20. Jackson Resenje and Caio Gaspar make it an all-Brazilian row number 2. Top 4 covered by just over 8 tenths. Gaston Coolharvey from Argentina will be joined by the fabulous Fabio Zampolini, the number 32 from Brazil, and then Uruguay's Diego Villarreal and Brazil's Lauri Santi, completing the 8-strong grid, covered by 2.712 seconds. It's going to be a 10-lap race here in the land of the Steiermark. Also, the Red Bull Ring has hosted the Steiermark Grand Prix. If anyone might remember in 2020 that they had the Austrian and then the Styrian Grand Prix. So we're just waiting for a few more of the drivers to ready up. It will be a standing start ahead of 10 laps of racing around this circuit. Has been known for quite a few good races. It's also been the scene of the Sheep in House DTM scandal that rocked the championship, courtesy of an incident between Timo Scheider and Robert Wickens, and I happen to know both drivers personally. I know for a fact it was not as intended. It was just clickbait, and everyone took it out of context. The TCR cars, the revs start to build as the green flag will wave and lights are out. We're underway. Oh, bit of a poor start there from Fabio Zampolini off of the line. Drops all the way down to the back of the grid as Gael Valero uses the opportunity to get the power down early in the Audi to get to the front of the field ahead of Corentin Guiñez, Jackson Resenje, Caio Gaspar and Gaston Coolharvey rounding out the top 5 as they head up the hill towards Remus. Tight right-hander here at turn number 2, but Corentin Guiñez getting the slipstream up the hill on the opening tour out of 10. Moves towards the inside. As the slots in behind him, is no way near launching it up the inside of Valero. Valero gets a little bit of a difficult run coming out of Remus as they're going all the way down towards Schlossgold here at turn number 3. Guiñez scrabbling all over the back bumper of Valero in the Audi, the sole Audi. Guiñez pulls to the outside heading into turn 4. Don't try and do an Alex Albon onto Lewis Hamilton, if anyone might remember that from a couple of years ago. That played to Lewis Hamilton's race and also Alex Albon's at the same time, but Valero keeping the lead. Guiñez in second at Resenje. Gaspar has got Coolharvey looking up the inside. That's going to be going through into Harsh at turn 5. Guiñez still, Coolharvey is through on Gaspar, so Gaspar could be very fearful of losing his lead in the overall standings as Resenje takes to the gravel through turn number 7 as they come over the crest of the hill into Rindt at turn 8, and Guiñez still at this point is about half a car length behind. They've got to watch those track limits coming through the Red Bull Mobile corner out of turn number 9 as we are fast approaching the conclusion of lap number 1. But at the moment here, Marco, Valero leads, Guiñez in second, and they've pulled a gap to about a second over Resenje.
Yeah, basically this almost poetic picture of one Audi being chased by 7 Hyundais around the Austrian countryside, and I don't know for how long Valero will be able to hold first place because Guiñez is looking very aggressive behind him. Now getting into the braking area here, doesn't go many tries, to go deep there, but maybe no need to risk this early, trying to build a little bit of a gap between the pair of them and the rest of the field, because of course Guiñez knows the moment he will go for the move they will start losing time to Resenje and company, so maybe not the time to go for a crazy move just yet, even though now goes a bit wide the Apex Racing Team driver, but still Guiñez doesn't find it like a proper moment to go for the attack, even though you can see them, they are basically glued one to another, Alex. So it's we could expect a move from Guiñez any moment.
I would probably say that will be coming out of the final corner and down the start-finish straight is the real opportunity. Plus also the run up the hill. I mean, even though these 2-litre turbocharged engines, they're going to have to deal with elevation change, which strangles the turbochargers and the airflow going into the inline 4s. as they come out of the final corner. It's going to be the completion of lap number 2. Valero still has Guiñez right on the back bumper. Down the start-finish straight, the gap is going to close. It is rapidly closing. It's now just under a tenth of a second as Guiñez puts in the fastest lap, but has to lift off the brake, lift off the accelerator, and then have to slam onto the brakes heading into the first corner. 1 minute 41.806. New fastest lap by the number 8, Corentin Guiñez in second position, who's right up the back wing of Gael Valero as they go into Remus here at turn 2. Guiñez was again looking towards the inside, thought better of it. Valero runs a little bit wide coming out of the corner, trying to rotate the car through it. Guiñez now finds himself towards the inside line. This is going to set him up nicely. Turn number 3 at Schlossgold, but Valero in that Audi still manages to have the legs on the Hyundai Elantra at NTCR. But into turn number 3, up the inside goes Guiñez. Valero kicks it in to the outside because he's going to get the run through into Roush at turn number 5. So the number 33 Apex Racing Team driver will be later on the brakes, or will he? Round the outside as Guiñez once again. Valero side by side with his countryman into the next left. Guiñez still keeping that race lead. This is very reminiscent of the battle between Timo Glock and Gary Paffett a few years ago in DTM. It was 2018, and for 50 corners they were side by side for pretty much most of it. But great exchange there. But Guiñez runs a little bit wide coming out of the penultimate right-hander. Valero was a bit tighter to the apex, but Resenje is closing in. Top 3 as we cross the line to complete lap 3 onto lap 4. Resenje. Now Kulharvi has the fastest lap. So Kulharvi will get a potential cool $20 additional into his back pocket. But now Resenje sees the opportunity and Valero becomes the Audi meat, Hyundai sandwich.
Basically, of course, now what they are risking, which we are all for it, is to get like a big train of cars all fighting for the race win, especially if Valero is going to counter-attack on Corentin Guiñez for the lead of the race. As you were saying earlier, Resenje has basically joined the party as well, and let's be honest, so did Kulharvi. So we're waiting on Gaspar, maybe Villarreal, Zappellini and Santi, which are lagging a bit behind, but not by much. And of course, the moment this fight will get bigger and bigger and bigger, they could very well come back to the fight as well. But for right now, it's Guiñez from Valero, Resenje and Kulharvi, your top 4, and realistically, these top 4 drivers are the ones that right now are in the realistic hunt for the race win. Gap around half a second between the two Frenchmen at the front of the pack. We'll see if Guiñez will be able to get Valero off his back, but I don't think it's going to be easy. We shall see.
Yeah, a little bit of gravel being kicked up by Jackson Resenje coming out of turn number 7 after Wirth at turn 6, but we crossed the line. We're now going on to lap 5. 4 laps in the books. 40% of the race distance has been covered. Corentin Guiñez goes into the 1 minute 40s, and it's not by a little bit, it's by a lot. It's by a quarter of a second. 1 minute 40.750. Gael Valero 1 minute 40.826. Kulharvi also in the 140s, 140.883. Those are the only 3 drivers in this race so far that I think have already got into the 140s, but Gaston Kulharvi's 1 minute 40.883 has not been declared as his fastest lap because he was exceeding track limits. Right on board on the number 33 of Francis Gael Valero from Apex Racing Team, closing in on the number 8 of Asher Racing's Corentin Guiñez. Into turn 3 at Schlossgold they go once again. Gap starting to dwindle a little bit between Guiñez and Valero. Maybe Valero might just be holding something a little bit further back in terms of the tyre degradation. Of course, the new updates that has been brought in here on week 13. So this is going to be quite crucial on how Gael Valero just tries to chip away Corentin Guiñez, who not only has the race lead and is on course for not only $100 in his pocket, but also 20 for picking up the fastest lap. So he will have a 6 times multiplier when it comes to his entry fee of $20 for tonight. In the meantime, Resenje has started to drop off a little bit here, and Gaston Coulharvey is reeling him in. Coulharvey last time around was pretty much 0.3 of a second quicker, and Coulharvey matches Resenje on pace this time. So whether the a little bit wide coming out of the opening corner by Corentin Guignez, but that doesn't really stop him because he carries that momentum through turn number 1 at the Niki Lauda corner. Leto losing a little bit more time. Corentin Guignez again doing improvement on that previous lap of 1 minute 40.635. Valero was nearly a second, 1.5 tenths slower on that particular occasion, but there you see behind them Resenje and Coulharvey, who ride on board inside the cockpit of Gaio Valero in the number 33, and he is trying to close that gap again on Corentin Guignez as they go into turn number 3. It's down the hill, car sweeps to the right hand side, and great to see as always the attention to detail here on iRacing, how true to life it really is here, Marco.
Yes, I remember when I went to Spa-Francorchamps for the first time in 2016 for the 24-hour race, and the moment I arrived at the racetrack was then that I realized the high amount of detail, the incredible detail down to the tree, to the kind of trees that were around the racetrack at Spa, the same that you could see in iRacing, and in fact you could really tell where you were just basically looking quickly around. And it's almost like it sounds weird, but it felt to me like I had already been there despite not having been there before. That's absolutely amazing. What can be done with laser scanning, and of course lots and lots of photography and eye detail. Of course, the new grass model, which is coming soon to hopefully more and more racetracks. Of course, today introduced with the newly released track of Willow Springs that made its debut a few hours ago on the service. Hopefully, tracks like this one, for example, which are basically in the art of nature, can hugely benefit from it. We see the battle here between Coulharvey and Resenje. This is going to be for 3rd place. Back at the front, it seemed to me, Alex, when Guignez was in 2nd and Valero was in 1st, it seemed that Guignez, you could see he had the extra pace in him, and in fact he went for the move. Right now, seems the opposite. I don't think that Valero is showing that he can make the pass. Of course, he's very, very close, so possibly he still has the chance to make the move. And of course, we have to remember, I think it's almost interesting to point it out, but every time these drivers have been in this position, Guignez 1st, Valero 2nd, Valero has always been very, very aggressive, whilst the opposite hasn't been true. When Guignez has been in 2nd, he hasn't been as aggressive as when Valero was in his position. So something to keep an eye on, because the gap is certainly there for a lunge from Valero in the final few laps.
Yeah, we're about to head on to our 8th lap out of 10, so 3 to go here at the Red Bull Ring for AMX 20, race number 18 of Beta Season 2. Gaston Coulharvey closing on Jackson Resenje as they head into turn number 1. Coulharvey very deep on the brakes, but rotates the car through nicely, avoids the left side tyres going on the other side of the sausage curb on the exit of the opening corner as they go up the hill. The gap now is starting to close. The slipstream will become prevalent very, very shortly. And Coulharvey is not close enough to facilitate a late lunge up the inside. You don't do that at Remus at turn 2. As they make their way over the crest, down the dip. Gap is further extended to just under half a second, but Coulharvey again starting to reel in Resenje. Whilst Valero last time around was actually quicker than Corentin Guignez by nearly the best part of 0.2 of a second, but the gap is starting to open up again. Now over 50% way through lap number 8. So after this will be 2 to go. Kyle Gaspar rounding out the top 5 behind Gaston Coulharvey, who still is trying to close on on Jackson Resenje, the number 3 from Brazil. See just how much the curve and sometimes of the runoff area these drivers are actually using, as Kulhavi makes his way through into the turn named after the posthumous Formula 1 world champion Jochen Rindt, as they come down the hill again into the Red Bull Mobile corner. That is now going to make it 2 laps to go. And once again, Gael Valero was, well, a new fastest lap of the race. 2 to go. Corentin Guiñez there, Marco, 1 minute 40.599. Valero does not seem to have an answer.
No, absolutely not. Fantastic from Guiñez to find the fastest lap of the race so far with just 2 laps to go. I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but certainly, you know, it seemed like the times were getting a little bit stale. But no, he was able to find that extra tenth here or there, and he was able to now increase the gap to 0.8 of a second, 0.7 of a second between Hasenji and Kulhavi. A bit more spread out our competitors in the back. We see Zamperini with a terrible start. He's able to recover and now up into 6th place, but sadly for him a bit far away from the 5th place of Caio Gaspar in front of him. And we now jump on board. We see, of course, he's on board. Always nice to see Fabio very focused, but also light-hearted when he is at the wheel as he gets under the bridge. And it is, of course, is Lawi Santi, fellow countryman from Brazil, also showing us his beautiful rig, but unfortunately not the best of races for him. Some damage on the left side of the car, and sadly lagging in last place with his number 1 car. There at the front, 1 second between Guiñez and Valero as the final lap of the lap number 9, and now the final lap of the race starts this very moment.
Yeah, white flag in the air for 10 laps of racing here at the Red Bull Ring. For AMX 20, race number 18, Corentin Guiñez now making his way up towards turn number 2. Remus for the final time. Kulhavi trying to close on in once again to the back bumper of Jackson Resenje in the number 3. It's going to be a tall order for the Argentinian to get through on the Brazilian as they go hard into the braking zone, down a couple of gears, rotate the car through, touch the apex, ensure that the car does not start bumping up and down into the air like a bit of a yo-yo on a string. Guiñez is nearly 50% of the way through this lap. Kulhavi's made up 1 place ahead of Gaspar, who's down in 5th position and is a big country mile behind. He's about 6.2 seconds behind this battle for P3. Last step on the virtual rostrum. Corentin Guiñez still leading, and his gap is now just over a second. Kulhavi's got the gap down to just under 7 tenths, but our race leaders are coming to the final 30%, the 10th and final lap. So let's see, there they are, coming through in towards the penultimate right-hander. And Valero took the early charge of the race, but Corentin Guiñez has made good his intentions and picks up what is going to be the AMX 20 victory here in race number 18 at the Red Bull Ring. Number 8 from France, and Asher Racing comes out of the final corner. He's going to win it comfortably by just over a second. Gael Valero makes it a French top 2. Resenje pips Kulhavi by just over 3 tenths at the checkered. As we wait for the last 4 drivers to come across the line, Caio Gaspar takes P5. A flash of the headlights from Corentin Guiñez in celebration for winning, not just taking the race victory, but also taking the fastest lap of this race at 1 minute 40.599. And last but by certainly no means least, with the number 1 car, Lawi Santi crosses the line. That concludes the racing action. Race day number 34 here on AMX Global. And a big thank you to our drivers that competed, not just at Oran Park and the Clios, also here at the Red Bull Ring in TCR. What a way to cap off what's been a brilliant double bill of front-wheel drive touring car racing action. Guiñez takes the win by exactly a second ahead of Gael Valero, Jackson Resenje, Gaston Kulhavi, rounding out the top 4, covered by just under 4.5 seconds. Caio Gaspar in 5th, Fabio Zamperini, a bad start off the line, demoted him to the back of the grid, but he came back fighting, finished in P6. And then we got a very smiley and happy Lawi Santi in the bottom right-hand corner of your screens. Great to see him ending He's saying, yeah, it's a bit sweaty here. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see here on AMX Global. And you know what? Guess what he's using as his camera? His smartphone, because it went straight to portrait and then to landscape before you know it. So, and a wave goodbye from him as well. That's brilliant. Laughs and smiles on Fabio Zampolini's face. But Marco, a great way for us to end on race day 34. And you and I are both back in the saddle for tomorrow night. I mean, we've got Porsche 991 GT3 Cup cars at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. And then we've got a track I haven't actually commentated on yet, Rudskogen. And we got the Toyota GR86 Cup cars. But tonight, I mean, two different winners from two different races, some great battling. The rivalry for Corentin Guignez and Gael Valero continues. It's the new Goku versus Vegeta, like TJ and I were talking about with regards to, I think it was Victor Miranda and Gael Valero. So it's really been interesting to see that when you get two drivers from the same nation competing against each other, that's when rivalries are born. And it's so exciting for us as commentators to be able to see that, isn't it?
And I'm sure, I absolutely agree, I'm sure that, of course, Gael Valero will want to redeem himself as soon as possible because he knows he should have been more competitive tonight. Of course, only 1 second back, but for him it's an eternity. He wants to be there, battling wheel to wheel. And I love that we go from, front-wheel drive action to the Cup cars tomorrow. Of course, the Cup car, the Porsche GT3 Cup car, Nürburgring, and of course the Toyota 86 at Rudskogen is going to be very interesting. I've never commented on that track, but I've raced there poorly. It's a beautiful, beautiful track for hot lapping, amazing up and down, crazy corners, but difficult to race well because there really is only one racing line. So I can't wait for tomorrow, and of course we're going to be there. So, what more do you want?
Yeah, I might have to give a shout. I might have to give my good friend from Williams Esports, Kenneth Gilbranson, a bit of a quick call and say, right, tell me about Rudskogen, because he'll know that track like the back of his hand. But anyway, that's it from us here on race day number 34. Big thank you to Automatics and BenQ, and of course Upbit for their support. Don't forget, hit us up on social media. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to follow on Twitch. Myself and Marco will see you once again in just under 24 hours time as we head into race day number 35 here on AMX Global. Until next time, thanks for watching. See you again soon. No, I just turned off my camera.